Hi everyone, thank you very much for tuning in, and without any further ado, let's jump into some interesting information. First one, after being lost for centuries, Spanish gold coin from 1609 breaks European auction record. A large coin minted in 1609 for Spain's King Philip III broke records to become the most valuable coin in Europe at a sale in Switzerland on Monday. The unique coin piece sold for $3.49 million US. And it had a starting price of 2 million Swiss francs. So, it's pretty interesting, right? A very small coin, 339 gram piece, and almost $3.5 million. Another story related to money, but it's sad, to be honest, right? Information from Italy. Italian man dressed as dead mother in order to claim her pension. Men from Borgo Virgilio investigated for benefit fraud in hiding body since woman's death in 2022. An Italian man is under investigation for benefit fraud and hiding a body after allegedly dressing up as his dead mother, including mimicking her hairstyle, and in order to claim her pension. So, what's wrong with people? Unbelievable what is going on. And just information from 10 minutes ago. Putin cannot achieve goals on battlefield, so will try to negotiate his way there, warns EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas. You cannot make this stuff up. So, according to this Kaja Kallas, the Russians cannot achieve goals in battlefield. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable what is going on. So, of course, these peace negotiations are still ongoing. And to be honest, we don't know what is going on, because every day we have sort of updates, completely contradiction information. One of just the information is that they almost reached and achieved some agreement. Another one, there is not. But my point is, there is no chance for real peace. What I mean is, let's assume for a moment that just the Russians, the Americans, with the Ukrainians, just that they will sign on all papers, and let's say from next week we have peace. Why it will not work like that? It's simple, because if Mr. Zelensky will accept some proposals, so it is a massive risk of civil war in Ukraine, because many people will see it as complete betrayal, right? So for the Russians, it's like the win-win scenario. Of course, these words from EU that the Russians cannot win on the battlefield that's completely delusional, right? And whatever scenario will be played out, so I see the Ukrainians will be in very bad position. They can lose, just the land, and or they, are in risk civil war, and it's not going well for them. And also we need to remember that the coalition of willing countries to put boots on the ground are still considering sending their soldiers, like the UK, the Germans, France, and I think some couple of countries from Central East of Europe. And we'll see escalation, unfortunately. So in mainstream media, they want to show us that, okay, we are working on just the peace agreement, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I'd like to be wrong. I'd like to be wrong. But my feelings, are completely different. And another breaking news from the UK. As today, Rachel Reeves delivering the UK budget. And what she said: I will take action to help families with her cost of living, cut hospital waiting list, cut the national debt. And I will push ahead with the biggest driver for growth in generation. I will not return Britain back to austerity, nor will I lose control of public spending with reckless borrowing. And the Prime Minister of the UK said, cost of living issues affected almost every family, and the government had introduced a number of immediate measures to tackle it, including the extension of the free breakfast club, free school meals, reducing school uniform cost, freezing prescription charge cost, or freezing rail fares. So we need to understand there is no such thing like the free something, free service. Let's assume for a moment that who will be paying for this free breakfast club or free school meals? Of course, government in this case, right? But we need to remember that government itself doesn't have its money. So how they are deal with that? There are two options. They will print more money. It means inflation will be higher, or they will tax more working people. This is how it works. This is how people, from the socialist government always, dealing with the money. It's the same scenario over and over again, right? And Deutsche Bank, third largest tax rising budget since 2010, announced. So nearly 30 billion in taxes were announced, with the extension of the fiscal drag and tapering of pensions and employee salary. Sacrifice schemes making up the bull of the tax-raising measures. So they promised not to borrow too much, but just there is no way they cannot cut spending. Unbelievable what is going on in the UK. The working class people will be squeezed and will be completely wiped out. Completely. 100%. And let's look at some comments from people. So, for instance, first comment. They spend billions on energy cap to help funnel our money into the hands on private equity, but spend nothing on a plan to reduce the price of energy. The war on nuclear energy has been the biggest scam ever. And also, today they announced that there will be the wage increase of 4.1%. Let's look at it closely. So, minimum wage increase of 4.1, right? Minus 3.8% for official inflation. Official. So, gives you 0.3 real team increase. So, it's about £1.37 per week increase in wages. Taxes will be going up, which will affect food inflation. So this all cost, the 0.3% difference will be completely wiped out. So meaning the people will be getting worse. And we need to remember that rising wages are inflationary. So this is what is going on when government takes money from private sector and gives to people who are unemployed for social welfare and so on. Another comment. The number of unemployed is growing. The cost of benefit is growing. The number of people leaving the UK is growing. That's the growth, isn't it? Tax people who work, tax people who save, tax people who are careful with money, give money to people who will not work, provide free everything to illegal immigrants. It's a matter of time that UK economy will collapse. Absolutely. There is no another way. And just please do remember, don't trust the government, because government is not your friend. Whatever today they promised, no, it's not gonna work. Absolutely. So at the end of the day, when they see the economy is fully collapsing, in my opinion, they will invite people to war. There is no accountability completely. And this is the huge problem nowadays with the politicians. They will blame everyone else, but not themselves. And this is how it works all the time. And it doesn't matter, to be honest, that you vote for right-wing party, left-wing party. From many years, both sides, they spend enormously, they printing money, inflation rising, cost of living declining, people struggling, and people will be struggling more, much more. Maybe it's time to wake up. Maybe it's time to look for gold. And just come to this conclusion that if we don't start educate ourselves, no one is coming to save us. No one. Thank you very much. God bless.